From the City of Angels, you are listening to the James Salazar Media Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to talk about headlines from the world of futurism. So let me strike the music, and I'll meet you on the other side.
Engage.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Say hello to my little friend.
No, I am your father.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
And welcome to the James Salazar Media Podcast, where you get your fix of pop culture, politics, and futurism. I am the formerly mentioned James Salazar, your host, aka the media. And speaking of news, a lot of craziness is happening out there. The Palestinians and the Israelis are shooting rockets at each other. Admittedly, the Palestinians fired first, but it looks like the Israelis fired more devastatingly, if that's a word. And people are up in arms over the heavy-handed return fire from the Israelis. But that whole conflict takes a whole podcast to get into that. And I might do it. But not today. Right now in America, we have a lot of gang violence going on. People are being shot in the streets. We have people shooting people on the freeway. One girl got killed, a little girl. A lot of road rage. People shooting off their guns. People are on edge. People are emotionally triggered easily, and people are dying, and people are murdering each other over it. Not our best side, America. Not our best side. Unfortunately, all the people who are against gun violence are weirdly quiet about it. They only care if there's a school shooting. But if it happens on the street, no matter how many kids die, they don't seem to care. It's weird to me how the only type of gun violence that people care about is the ones where mostly white kids die in school. It's odd, but all the kids dying in the streets of the inner city, it don't get the same disdain or calls for gun control. And I don't know why. It would be intellectually consistent. I don't believe there should be gun control. Because guess what? Where all those shootings are happening have the highest gun control laws, or the most strictest gun control laws in the country. But still, people are all popping off with their guns and murdering each other. I mean, it's a weird thing to me that if you're caught in a situation where your life is at threat, that your first thought in your mind is, I wish there was a law preventing this, and not that I wish I had a gun to defend myself. Two different mindsets, two different types of thinking. One, I think, is a sheep, and the other is a wolf. A wolf? Wolves. Woof, woof. What I'm trying to say is, you have to be taught to think that if your life is at threat level 5, if your life is at danger, and the first thought that comes into your mind, I wish they wrote a law, and not, I wish I had a gun to defend myself. You have to be trained to think that way. You have to be, unfortunately, a collective thinker, not an individual to think that way. You have to think like a sheep. That if you're in danger, you say, where's my shepherd? And why didn't my shepherd take care of this? Instead of being someone who says to themselves, I wish I had something right now to hit back, to kill back, to defend back. I don't know. But that's where the political lines are drawn. You know, it was a harsh lesson to learn when I realized that if someone wanted to kill me, that there is no law and no policeman who's going to stop it. There's no Martin Riggs from Lethal Weapon that's going to come and save the day for me. Arnold Schwarzenegger is not going to pull out his M60 and kill that person. Sylvester Stallone, Rambo is not going to save the day. And that's the reality. If I want to live through a situation like that, I'm going to have to defend myself. We could hope that the police get there on time, but most often they don't. Majority of the time, they don't. I'm sorry, there is no law you can write that will stop someone from getting a gun and killing people. It's not going to happen. It hasn't happened. Where they have the strictest laws is where you have the most gun violence. This is real life. This is not fantasy. This is the real world and how it works. And I get it. White liberals, you know, they live in a vacuum. They don't live in bad neighborhoods. They don't live in the inner city. They're not privileged to see the crime happen in front of their face, where they can come to silly conclusions like writing laws restrict people's behavior. Laws are to punish behavior. They're not there to restrict behavior. The people who are willing to commit the crime often are willing to do the time if they get caught. They weighed the options and they chose to still cause violence and death. If you believe gun laws work, you're probably someone who believes that drug laws work. And we know they don't. And the same reason why drugs laws don't work is the same reason why gun laws don't work. Because the people who are motivated to do it, they're going to do it. And no law is going to stop them. And that's it. And that's all I want to say about it. But let's talk about the future, my friends. So let's get into it. Headlines from the world of futurism. Nobel Prize winner says artificial intelligence will crush the humans. Not even close. It is common knowledge at this point that artificial intelligence will soon be capable of outworking humans, if not entirely outmodel them in plenty of areas. How much will be outworked and outmodeled, and on what scale, is still up for debate. Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman had a fairly hot take on the matter. In the battle between AI and humans, he said, it's going to be an absolute blowout, and humans are going to be cream. He continues to say, we are so unprepared for a forthcoming takeover of artificial intelligence. speaking to the way the pandemic overtook an unprepared world, the exponential growth of the virus, the human mind, he explained, are essentially unequipped to handle the basic math underlying how something like a COVID outbreak can spread out of control on a global scale. He continues, there's going to be a massive disruption. Technology is developing very rapidly, possibly exponentially. But people are linear. When linear people are faced with an exponential change, they are not going to be able to adapt to that very easily. Medicine as one place humans are going to be replaced, certainly in the term of diagnostics and elsewhere, he issues a stark message to the boardroom of the world. There are rather frightening scenarios when you are talking about leadership. Once it is demonstrably true that you can have an AI that has a far better business judgment than human leadership. Okay, so I think we get what he's saying here. In all aspects, AI is going to cream us. It's not going to be even close. And how we dealt with the coronavirus gives him a clue of how we would deal with artificial intelligence taking us over, moving us aside. We would react very bad. We wouldn't know what to do. And before we had a chance to respond, AI would have won the war. So this is disconcerting for sure. That this guy believes that. That's not cool, homie. That's not cool, me. That is not cool.
Citizens of the earth, you will be destroyed.
That's what he's saying. And in the boardroom, obviously, if an AI can make better judgment than humans and the company can make more money, guess what's going to happen? The artificial intelligence is going to take that over. I mean, we need artificial intelligence at Warner Brothers because they don't know what the fuck they're doing over there. They are making totally bad decisions based upon what movies they're putting out and what movies they're not putting out and where they're putting their energy in. They're a bunch of morons. I don't know how they got into their positions, and I would vote to put an AI at Warner Brothers. Just saying. I know that's off topic, but it's right for me. Ha ha. Beep beep. And let's continue on this vein. Should overpaid CEOs be replaced with artificial intelligence? In recent years, executive salaries have skyrocketed. According to the Economic Policy Institute 2020 report on CEO pay, the average American CEO earns 320 times as much as a typical worker, and that number has consistently climbed over the decades. Excesses like that make a really good case for merely replacing executive with a comparatively inexpensive artificial intelligence. Executives are probably far more eager to automate the lower tier workers out of a job, but replacing themselves with a machine that could be considerably more cost effective and make businesses more sustainable. Yeah, I don't think they're going to do that. If they have a choice in it. Of course, putting AI in charge of corporate strategy would be a risky move, argues the New Statement magazine, that it could also take human biases and blind spots out of the equation, assuming the algorithm was properly built and trained. In fact, it could even increase the company's scrutiny over how it handles decisions. New statement points out, putting them into the hands of people assessing an algorithm works rather than a single executive who might be beyond reproach could lead to a more collaborative culture and well thought out course of action. Now, this goes back to what we were saying before in the other one, that artificial intelligences would be cheaper than those high-paid CEO with golden parachutes. I mean, there would be definitely, I mean, we're not talking about like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or Virgin, Richard Branson. These people will still exist, but the majority of CEOs who are not going to make moves like eccentric people like that, who are just trying to increase profits, you don't need to pay this dude, what is it, $300 million a year? And when an AI can take the same information but make better decisions, make more profit, and not be so blind spotted to the things that are very important to our culture right now, that some CEOs are not very sensitive to or don't know how to be sensitive to, we can create CEOs through algorithms that makes the decisions that we want them to make. Maybe we can have a CEO who would never try to find a way to dump toxins in a river to save money, or steal people money, or invest it stupidly, and or lie about it, or do things underhanded, or maybe for some people who, if you have a majority of like liberal people investing in your company, well, they're going to want a more equitable company towards race and income. The CEO may not have those values. He might be a pure capitalist. But if you can create a CEO that is artificial intelligence that would have all your concerns and make the judgments based upon those parameters, people will be more happy. It may not be the most profit, but it may be the most ethical for the people who believe in those ethics. So you never know. If you can get a artificial intelligence for $1 million instead of 300 million, maybe that's, and they give you what you want, and they're able to produce profits, maybe that's the wave of the future. But do we want to hand that over? Because you're not going to, I mean, none of those CEOs, let me tell you something. Jeff Bezos didn't want to go into space until Elon Musk decided long ago that he wanted to go in space. And same thing for Virgin. They might have thought about it, but only when Elon Musk, this wild card, decided to do it, has man pushed themselves that we're probably going to space. We're probably going to go to Mars. I mean, they're already booking Uranus. I'm not talking about your ass. And Saturn. If Mars is successful, they're not going to stop like they did once the Soviet Union gave up on their space program because they couldn't keep up with us because we made it to the moon first. No, these CEOs are trying to one-up each other, all in the pursuit of making humans a space-bearing race, that the human race will be on multiple planets. I don't know if an artificial intelligence would take those risks. But again, if you wrote the parameters right and the algorithms right, maybe it would be better if an artificial intelligence ran SpaceX, and Elon Musk just keeps on creating good ideas just in the algorithm, just to let Elon Musk do what Elon Musk does and the artificial intelligence run the company successfully. So, who knows? But this is where it's going. As well as cheap work is going to be automated, maybe intelligent work is going to be automated by artificial intelligence. The White House approves United States' first massive offshore wind farm. The Biden administration just granted final approval for the Vineyard Winds, a huge offshore wind farm off the coast of Massachusetts. The wind farm, which would be the first large-scale facility of its type in the United States, will eventually include 84 turbines about 15 miles off the coast of Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. Once it's ready, officials expect the farm to produce 800 megawatts of clean energy, making it an important first step towards the Biden administration's climate and energy goals. So I'm pretty sure this is going to spend a lot of money on when we know there's much better stuff to do than wind farms. Nuclear energy, I know it has a very destructive past because we tried to kill people with it. And we had a couple of meltdowns that are not very good. But it's still the safest and the most cleanest and efficient form of energy. And because of emotionalism, we're choosing to put big propellers out in the sea that will probably chop up a bunch of birds and probably won't produce. It'll probably take like maybe 10 years for it to produce the clean energy of the bad energy that it costs to make it. But that's our president now, and he won, and he gets to, double down. Double down. After saying all that, we read, scientists fear a new disaster at Chernobyl meltdown site. Ukraine's Chernobyl nuclear power plant was destroyed decades ago in a horrific radioactive accident. But it turns out that the nuclear reaction are still smoldering away inside, even now. Pieces of uranium fuel burned beneath the power plant wreckage have started to flare up in a new nuclear fusion reaction. In the face of potential repeat disaster, experts are now scrambling to figure out if the radioactive embers will die out on their own or if someone needs to go in and take care of it. The Institute of Safety Problems of Nuclear Power Plants, a nuclear safety organization in Kiev, found that the strength of the runaway nuclear reaction seems to be growing in strength, but the increase is happening slowly. So officials should have a few years to first determine whether a new incident could happen and then find the best way to prevent it. And if you ever seen that TV show on HBO called Chernobyl, you should watch it. It tells you a harrowing story about what happened and how, unfortunately, they cut corners, which you should never do with anything, for that matter. And there were some brave Russians who died for their country to save lives. It is a touching and horrifying story. and you should watch it on HBO. One of the best shows I've ever watched. It's a mini series. So do that. But the truth of the matter is, if you take yourself out of the emotionalism and look at all the countries who use nuclear fusion to power their cities, it is one of the most safest and most efficient and most powerful ways to do it. And cleanest. The world's largest iceberg broke off Antarctica. A gigantic iceberg, roughly 70 times the size of Manhattan, has broken off from Antarctica, in the process becoming the world's largest iceberg. The gigantic slab of ice, 1,668 square miles in size, is now floating in the Weed Sea southeast of South America. The event was not linked to climate change, research geologist from University of Colorado Boulder, Ted Scumbum, and is part of a natural cycle instead, since it was already in the water. Forming of the iceberg won't be raising ocean levels either, according to Scambo. It is not an area that is undergoing any significant change because of global heating. The main message is it's part of a natural cycle. Well, it's good to hear that there's not a reaction. I'm pretty sure there's going to be other scientists that say, no. It is because of climate change. And it would be because of climate change, because the climate changes. But what they are implying, the other scientists, is that is global warming. But they're saying it's not because of rising heat levels. This naturally happens. It just happens to be the biggest one they ever saw. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be arguing over that for a while. Space Force Chief Scientist, human augmentation is now necessary. The head of scientists of the U.S. Space Force has an unusual idea for how to maintain military dominance, augmenting and upgrading humans. Speaking at the Air Force Research Laboratory event, Space Force Chief Scientist Joel Moser suggested that we are entering an era during which soldiers can become superhuman workforce. Thanks to new technology, including augmenting and virtual reality, sophisticated AI, and nerve stimulation. In the last century, Western civilization transformed from an industrial-based society to an information-based society. But today we are on the brink of a new age, the age of human augmentation. The notion of developing superhumans has been a particular interest lately, with countries like Russia, France, and the U.S. seeking out new ways to enhance their soldiers' capabilities. Mosul, therefore, simply frames the issue in the matter of keeping up with the competition. In our business of national defense, it is imperative that we embrace the new age, lest we fall behind our strategic competitors. Well, he's saying that because space is harsh and it wears down the body. And until we can find viable forms of artificial gravity where we can build our muscles on, they don't atrophy, we're going to need to augment humans, because it is a very hard technology to try to develop artificial gravity. We don't know how to do it. We like spinning things around And we think that's going to be the viable way we're going to have and create gravity. As you see in 2001, The Space Odyssey. You see it in The Martian. This is the way how we're going to try to create artificial gravity. But until then, we're going to need super soldiers flying in space, and those super soldiers will have to be competitive with other super soldiers of nation states that are enhancing their humans. And I'm pretty sure Russia and China already are into it, and I'm pretty sure we are into it. France is probably a close third. I mean, they're pretty vocal about it, that they're going to be the most superhuman Frenchmen ever seen on Earth. I mean, this is one way they can catch up. A lot of these new technologies, see, United States is the dominant global power. We're the strongest force. But there's places where there's avenues that our enemies or our allies or our competitors can gain ground and take some of that clout from us, some of that position. It's going to be in artificial intelligence, and it's going to be in enhancing humans. There they can make up some ground that they lost to the United States of America, and they're going to do it. Don't fool yourself. They're going to be about it. And so must we. And the Space Force guy is talking about it because he's going to need those people first to spend years out in space, in space stations, on different planets with different levels of gravity. And our bodies are going to need to be more enhanced to live that lifestyle, for sure. Most likely the first generation in space will die young because the body was not meant to survive outside of Earth's natural gravity and all the other stuff that comes with Earth. Those people are going to die of heart failure, lung failure, get diseases from weak bodies that can't handle space or a foreign planet. And we're going to have to develop the person to do that through genetic engineering. So, very interesting stuff. They're just coming out and saying it. The military is saying it. The next couple of babies that are coming out are going to be enhanced. I guarantee you right now, they are pitching to mothers and fathers or to be mother and fathers that they can have their kid genetically engineered with all the capabilities that humans do not have right now, and that most likely the first generation of augmented humans will be a superior race of humans, and they're going to get all the love, and they're going to get all the superior positions. Watch the movie Gattaca. It is exactly about that story. Gattaca. It's great. One of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time. One of the best futurism movies of all time, about a society of augmented humans that are pretty much flying out into space and getting all the good gigs, while the natural born people get all the mediocre job. And it's like a class warfare going on, but it's accepted because those people who are augmented are smarter, stronger, faster. But I'm not going to ruin the story for you. So, yeah. So very interesting stuff. Barack Obama, when it comes to aliens, there are things I just can't tell you on air. A strange narrative has emerged this year. The U.S. military is taking reports of unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs, more seriously than ever before, even setting up a task force scheduled to release a detailed report on the sightings this summer. And even before the report emerges, several military pilots have come forward to recount sightings of strange objects which they say appear to break the laws of physics. Even members of Congress are getting on board, calling for the Pentagon to release more information about these mysterious sightings. Now, former U.S. President Barack Obama is piling on during a late show interview with James Corden, when the show band leader Reggie Watts asked Obama about UFOs. The former commander-in-chief had a surprising and somewhat tongue-in-cheek answer. When it comes to aliens, there are things I just can't tell you on air, the former president told Watts, laughing. The truth is, when it comes into the office, I ask, he continued, I was like, is there a lab somewhere where you're keeping all these alien specimens and spaceships? They did a little research and the answer was no, Obama added jokingly. But what is true, there is actual, and I'm actually being serious here, there are footage and records of objects in the sky that we don't know exactly what they are, he added. We can't explain how they move, their trajectory, and did not have an easy explainable pattern. Look, I'm pretty sure there's an unspoken law that amongst the presidents and the people who deal with these kind of situations that they can't tell the whole truth. But I think the Pentagon, as well as former presidents, think our society could handle it now, as opposed to maybe 10 to 20 years ago. They think we couldn't, or they have a better, or just no good reason why to keep it under wraps. But I think at the end of the day, we're not going to know either way until, E.T. comes up and shakes our hand. There's always people going to doubt it, especially religious people. A lot of religious people believe that UFO sightings are just supernatural in origin. And you got other people who believe that there's a logical explanation for everyone. And emotionalism makes people take the most outlandish explanation as opposed to the most logical. But if I'm a former president, I would say shit like this even if it wasn't true. Hint out. I mean, he is access to information that is of things that are unexplainable. But I would say it. But I would be vague, deliberately vague, just to spur the imaginations of the American people. But at the end of the day, I don't know what to make of this, other than that he saw videos. He starts off saying that there's things I just can't say on air, but so let me tell you what I can say on air, and that I saw footage, but there is no aliens. Okay, I guess we have your word. Space Force Command fired after claiming Space Force commander fired after claiming leftism in military. A former commander of the Space Force has been relieved of his duty. Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Lohmeyer lost his command after he went on the Steve Gruber show and conservative talk radio show claimed that leftist practices are being adopted through the military. Lohmeyer was on the show promoting his new book, Irresistible Revolution: Marxism, Goal of Conquest, and the Unmasking of the American Military. With a title like that, it is no surprise that he had a few wacky thoughts to share on the subject. Since taking command as commander about 10 months ago, I saw what I considered fundamental incompatibility and competing narratives of what America was, is, and should be, Lomar said. That wasn't just prolific in social media throughout the country during the past year, but it was spreading through the United States military, and I recognize these narratives as being Marxist in nature. He went on to cite a 1969 project from the New York Times exempting left ideology being taught in the U.S. military. You're fired, fool. You got your ass fired. You know, unless it's telling you to do something against the Constitution of the United States, you got to obey your orders, and you do not have the liberty to speak out. This is obvious. I've always respected majority of military men, even though they did not like the president they were serving under. They refused to talk bad about the president because they knew their position was one of service, one of obeying that commander and not undermining him, even if you didn't believe in the way he might have been fighting a war. But as long as they were not violating any constitutional rights. I think this guy went a little bit far and decided to get famous instead of serve. The Lieutenant Stephen Whiting, Space Operation Commander, relieved Lieutenant Matthew Lomar of his command of the 11th Space Warning Squadron, Buckley Air Force Base, Colorado, May 14th, due to the loss of trust and confidence in his ability to lead, said the Defense Department in the statement to CNN. So, look, I get what he's saying. Majority of it is not always trying to win, but to have a more equitable result where America can, with the least aggression, try to reach its goals instead of just trying to win all out. That mentality, maybe the mixture of women, transgendered people into the military might perturb him in the wrong way. But at the end of the day, you got to obey. This is why you join the military. If you don't want to join the military, then and not be under those parameters of how you're supposed to act, and then you shouldn't have joined. And at the end of the day, and let me just say this, and this is off topic, I really think that if we're going to do this inclusive military where women can fight along with men, then they should bunk together and they should shower together. They should be training for the situations they would actually be in. Like the movie Starship Troopers and Aliens, they had women living in the same bunks, taking showers with the men, and they were not engaging in orgies, at least in the movies. So, and with transgender, what does it matter if someone's transgendered in a military if everybody has to shower together, right? Everybody's got to be naked in front of each other. So I'm just saying, if we're going to do it, let's do it right. I prefer a segregated military by gender, if all possible. Now, I prefer to have a segregated military. I think that's the most efficient. But if we're going to do this serving with each other, then they should sleep in the same bunks. They should go through the same workouts. They should shower in the same showers. If we're going to do this, let's do it right. Let's do it all the way and see if we come with a more efficient military that way. I doubt it, but if we're going to do it, we should do it all the way. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay, we're going to speed round the rest of these. Something bit my foot. Oh my god, that hurts. Mommy. Interstellar plutonium found in the Pacific Ocean, scientists said. I guess space plutonium might give us space nuclear energy. I don't know. Could be some crazy shit there. That might not go away. This is the beginning of a crazy movie. We got the space plutonium. Let's refine it. And then everybody turns into space zombies. A brain implant made mice immediately become friends. Aww. That's a Disney movie. Now we just need to put that into some humans' brains so teenage girls can get along. Scientists, we should be searching for alien version of Elon Musk. You know what? Elon Musk is cool, but I'm pretty sure he's an asshole. What do you think an alien Elon Musk is going to be like? That's going to be a douche. And he's going to be like doing shit that annoys alien people already, like Elon Musk does. And he might be like, I told you we can live on this planet Earth. We just need to stomp out all these humans like ants, and we'll take it over, like I promised you. You never know. I wouldn't want to find an alien Elon Musk. That fool might be doing some crazy shit. You think Elon Musk is doing something crazy? The alien version of Elon Musk? Hold your horses. Whatever. NASA detects a hum coming from beyond our solar system. Is it Heaven Church? Studies. Mars could still have active volcanoes, so just don't get near them. Biotech company officially unleashed gene-hacked mosquitoes in Florida. Okay. Passenger jet may get blasted by dangerous radiation, scientists warn. Whoa. Okay. That's not good for the airplane industry is suffering enough. They don't need to hear this shit. Doctors warn about a deadly fungus outbreak worldwide. Damn. I'm dealing with fungus on my toes, and now I got to deal with this other one worldwide. Holy shnikes. Scientists says there's a clear link between Facebook and depression. No shit. I mean, you go online and one of your friends have different values than you, and they start shitting on your values, not even knowing that that's your values, and you get all depressed, and then you start to engage, and then you disagree, and then you feel like shit again. Yeah, Facebook is the worst, but I can't stop looking at it. Even a tiny bit of drinking damages your brain, scientist says. I think my wife would agree with that. Doctors hack virus to make tumors kill themselves. Right on, rock on. Whatever. Hack it away and kill. Take that, cancer. Deadly brain-eating fungus outbreak spread beyond India. Holy crap. A fungus-eating brain? A fungus-eating brain? Yeah. Deadly brain-eating fungus outbreak. Oh, good. Terrible. Dozens of bodies found in the Indian River. That sucks. The head of NASA said there are holes on the roof of the spacecraft blast. Well, you should have got a better contractor, fool. Somebody who put the roof into the contract or the schematics. SpaceX appears to be assembling an orbital Starship booster. Yeah, it's pretty sure they're going to do that since they said they're going to do that. U.S. intelligence chief, Chinese space station is a threat to national security. Well, I guess that's where everything's going. Everything's going in space. Even all our wars, even all our intelligence agencies, it's all going to be done in space. Whoever controls space controls the Earth. NASA new Mars rover is preparing to gather samples that may reveal ancient life. So they're going to dig a hole and try to find microbe life on Mars, which you're probably going to find. Former U.S. officials, unidentified objects are 100,000 years ahead of our tech. I don't know how they know that. Did they stop and say, "Hey, can I look what's under the hood? What kind of tires do you have, bro? Are you using nitrous?" How would they know if it's 100,000 years ahead of us if you couldn't stop it and check it out? I mean, it's just faster and doing things that your shit can't do. Doesn't mean it's 1,000 years. I don't know where you get these numbers. U.S. Navy is developing drones to kill eggs in a wild bird nest. That sounds like a load of wasted money. Army experimenting with cartridges that upgrade the tank's capabilities. Okay. Scientists just proved that the human brain can support an extra body part. It's a picture of a hand, and it has a big old fatty finger, fatter than a thumb, electronic hand coming right out of the side of the hand, like with a strap. And now it can count to 6. Wonderful. Swarms of robots could dig underground cities on Mars. Well, that makes sense. If it's all possible, let's stay under the harsh elements in the ground. Unless you run into killer Mars worms, then, your ass is screwed. And last but not least, an illuminating possibility of stroke treatment through nanophotosynthesis. So, photosynthesis and nanotechnology can heal stroke. I can't talk right now. This is why I gotta cut it off. I can't talk straight for that long. Holy shit. Holy shnikes. Yeah. So, stroke victims with nanotechnology and photosynthesis, I guess you can make them better. Okay, I know we had to run through it. You can go to Futurism.com and get in depth into some of those headlines that we had to go through quickly because of time constraints, self-imposed time constraints, and read more about it. Be more educated about it. I will, at my leisure, do that. So, my friends, that's it. Headlines from the world of futurism. Hey everyone, this is James Salazar with James Salazar Media and the James Salazar Media Podcast. I want to talk to you about Legal Shield. Legal Shield is having the ability to have a lawyer on retainer for just $24.95 a month. Now, as you know, if you need a lawyer, it's too late, and you're going to pay through the nose just to talk to these people. But if with just $24.95, you can have a lawyer at your beck and call to deal with your legal issues. A long time ago, I was going to be a part of Legal Shield, but I passed because it just didn't cover enough for just $24.95 a month. And they just didn't have enough customers. Now, with the advent of technology and the internet, they have 4 million members, all paying into Legal Shield. Now the lawyers can cover more legal issues and get paid what they're worth at a low cost. That is great for you. They cover trial, family law, divorce, tickets and misdemeanors, last will and testament. When you purchase Legal Shield, you are given an app where you can access all your legal issues online and get a lawyer on the line as soon as possible. This is a game changer for people who are afraid when they get pulled over by police. You can have a lawyer there during that encounter on the phone. This is a game changer. For just $24.95 and peace of mind, you can have a lawyer on retainer for all your legal issues. I have a goal, James Salazar, me, myself, to get everyone on Legal Shield, that everyone can have legal representation. Because, like I said before, those who have lawyers have different results than people who don't. And that's just a fact. True inequality in this country is that the wealthy can have people on retainer and the poor don't. Legal Shield cures that. Legal Shield deals with that. Legal Shield solves that. Join Legal Shield today. There will be a link in the show notes. And this is it. We're done. Thank you for listening to the James Salazar Media Podcast. Hey, please subscribe to the podcast. Please leave a review. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, follow me on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, even LinkedIn. Just type in James Salazar Media. I should come up. So, my friend, when the storm of life come against you and you find yourself on your knees, stand tall. Take a look at that storm and say what my sensei Jack Burton always says. Give me your best shot. Strike the music.